Hi, I'm Naïma. This video is all about productivity. So I did an experiment last week where I decided to see if I could halve the number of hours that I was working and still achieve the same output. I kept hearing this saying, work fills the available time, and I wanted to see how true that was. I decided to halve my hours, and I used 3 books to help put me in the right direction, and I basically stole tips from all of those books. And the first one is Make Time, and the reason why I picked this one is it's by Jake Knapp and John Zeratsky, and these are 2 product designers who created some of the most popular apps and products in the world, like Gmail, YouTube, Google Hangouts, and so they know how sticky these products are and how easy it is to become distracted. And really they argue that there are 2 forces competing for our time. The first one is the busy bandwagon, so how everyone says how busy they are, they don't have time to do anything, so tired, so busy, and there's this whole, all of us kind of pretend to be even busier than we are, but how fulfilling is the work that we're doing and what are we all busy with? And the second one is infinity pool. So this is automatically replenishing content, so any app like Instagram, Twitter, YouTube as well, where there's always more to explore and more to see. These 2 things are at any point competing for our time. So Make Time was created to choose what you want to focus on, building energy so that you can, and then being more intentional about what you're doing. So I thought it was quite an interesting premise, and they suggest deleting all apps, and I didn't quite go that far. I did decide to remove notifications, so whenever I actually am distracted or am on Instagram or anything like that, it's because I'm choosing to, instead of being at other people's whim because they need something off me, or group chats or whatever. And also, they say that to-do lists aren't actually that helpful because we get a bit of a dopamine hit every time we tick something off, and instead we need to think about a high priority goal or a highlight for the day. And so I started doing this every day, and I really noticed a difference. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a work goal, so it could be make spaghetti bolognese. That was a highlight for me last week, and it really makes you think about, okay, what is the most important thing for me today? Is it to record this video? Is it to go on a walk? And you really start to think more strategically about what it is you want to achieve. These principles are quite simple, and when I was reading, I didn't really understand how impactful this book actually is. And they also discuss reflecting on your working week every week. And this is something I've also kept up, because we don't really think about how the systems that we create are benefiting us or whether they're not. The whole book is founded on the notion that your day is not really determined by what happens to you, but on what you pay attention to. So we actually have a lot more ability to reroute our lives in a way that benefits us, or that is more meaningful to us. And the second book that I looked at was Atomic Habits by James Clear, and it starts with a life-changing injury that happened to Clear when he was a teenager, when he was hit in the head with a baseball bat, and he lost the ability to perform basic function, and he was whisked away to hospital, and it took him a year before he was able to get back onto the baseball pitch. And when he returned, he wasn't as quick and he wasn't as fit as he used to be, but still he became determined that he would one day again become a really great baseball player. And it was only by having small habits and small things that he did every day incrementally over time that he was able to get to that goal. So it started off with making sure that his environment was really clean, and then his environment was tailored so that he could succeed in baseball, which was his main priority. And Clear argues that there are 3 layers to behavioral change. Outcomes and goals is the outer layer, and then process is another layer, and finally, identity is the final layer. And if you can get new habits to form part of your identity, then that is the easiest way to really make things last a long time. And so some of the key points were how when we're trying to get to a particular goal or achieve something, we think that massive change requires massive action. But really it's only by doing small things every day that we can have a huge impact over time. So becoming 1% more effective every month will then have a huge impact in 3 years' time. And one of the quotes that really resonated for me, because this is something I've seen in life, is changes can take years before it all happens at once. So when we see success or someone achieving something, we tend to only see the end goal. And really we need to forget about goals and results and focus instead on systems and processes which have a lot more longevity. Another key point which I've been trying to implement in my life is trying to make it easy to start these habits. So a simple way of doing that is by saying when and where you want to do something. So I want to meditate every day. So instead of having that as a goal, which is quite fluffy and not very specific, and I might do it a few times a week and then get bored, instead if I say at 8 a.m. I meditate in the living room and I set myself a reminder, and that is usually enough to get up and do it. And to make habits easier, there are a few ways of doing this. You can stack habits. So if I have my morning coffee, if I then stack meditation on top of that, and then I do that with the other habit, that can make it much easier. Designing an environment for success as well is another way. So if I have my meditation mat laid out the night before, then I'm more likely to go sit on it in the morning. And really increasing friction for bad habits is usually a great way of doing that. So leaving your phone in the other room so that it's not the first thing you go to when you wake up, and then leaving a book or something else nearby so that that's the first thing you reach for. That can often be enough to give you a cue in your environment for what you want to do. And then the last book that I looked at was Deep Work, which is a term I'm sure you've heard a lot before. And it's something that's existed for centuries, but has only really become popularized by this book, by Newport. He's a computer science professor. And he defines it as distraction-free work over an uninterrupted period of time, so multiple hours, which is pushing beyond your cognitive capabilities to either improve a skill or to learn about a topic further. To be challenging over a set period of time, so no phones, no watching TV at the same time, but really uninterrupted focused work. And the reason why it's so valuable, he argues, is because it's becoming more and more rare. And at the time of writing, he said that we were about to enter this new period of a great restructuring with a new economy that required people to quickly be able to adapt to changing environments and to also be able to learn new skills quite quickly. And those two things require deep work. And the reason why it's so hard is because our environment isn't really tailored to uninterrupted work. We have open plan offices, someone can come over to you at any point. We have social media, and we have meetings that could quite often become emails. So his tips are quite radical. So number one, become hard to reach, which I'm on board for. You shouldn't always be at the whim of other people. And number two, don't use the internet for entertainment. Like that one, I think is a bit too difficult for me, because I think you can find a balance where you can prioritize work, but then when you want to wind down or relax, you should also be able to reward yourself with whatever TV, Netflix, or any other content that you want to consume. And then quitting social media is his final tip. And I think that those aren't necessarily applicable for everyone. And so over the last few weeks, when I've been implementing some of these new techniques, I have found that they've been really effective, and I have actually managed to lower the work hours that I'm doing and still achieve the same results. And now I make sure that when I'm working, I'm fully working and I'm present and I don't have distractions. And it's been really useful. I'd love to hear what books and productivity hacks you like to check out. Thanks for listening.